When I was younger, I had two older sisters and a younger brother. And like most siblings, you don't always get along with each other. And sometimes you know which buttons to push. So they always said that I was Mom's favorite. I had two older sisters, a younger brother. I was the oldest boy. And according to them, I was my son, who could do nothing wrong. And then it got worse when I went to the seminary and became a priest. Now you're my son, who's the priest, who can do nothing wrong. So many times we think everyone else is the favorite. Remember, as kids, we would go pick a Christmas tree, and we were told, each of us, to pick our favorite, and then between us, we'd figure out which one we would choose. Well, of course, you never chose the favorite of somebody else. You did everything you could to get yours to be there. First reading said, "The Lord is a God of justice who knows no favorites." I bet everyone sitting here feels at times like God does have a favorite and it's not me. God seems to be taking care of everybody else except me. God, why don't you listen to me? Why don't you care what happens to me? It's understandable we can get in those moods. But today we ask God for the grace to step back and just be able to see all the things we have that we can be thankful for. We live in a country that is not perfect, but we know there are many places in our world where there are people who live who could probably say, God, we're not your favorite. Why was I born here? And God says to each and every one of us, it's not about here. It's about there. And if we're honest, it's our trials, it's our difficulties, it's the things that don't always go well that ultimately bring us closer to God and give us perspective. When everything's going right, we kind of forget about God, kind of forget to thank Him. What a difference each day can be if we just thank God for the gift of the day, no matter what might be happening. No matter when we think everybody else is God's favorite. Yet He hears the cry of the oppressed. The Lord is not deaf. How many times do we think that? The Lord, you must be deaf. You must need hearing aids because you're having trouble hearing me. You're not paying attention to anything. It's okay to have those feelings. When we have those feelings, that's when we step back and say, okay, God, I don't exactly know how you're working here, but I'm going to choose to trust that I'm not alone and that you're with me. The one who serves God willingly is heard. We may not always know whether we're heard, but serving God willingly. That means willingly placing ourselves in God's presence and allowing Him to guide us. The Psalm said, the Lord hears the cry of the poor. Each and every one of us are poor in one way or another. Maybe materially, maybe not. Maybe spiritually, maybe not. But however we feel poor as we come here today, the Lord does hear us. God, give us the grace to believe that you hear us. Second reading said, I am already poured out like a libation. If we had a pitcher of water and filled a glass, the water would get smaller in the pitcher. We can picture that pitcher not full of water, but full of God's grace. And God pulls His grace inside of us. And then we're called to pour that grace out in how we work in our lives, how we live in our lives, how we speak in our lives, how we choose to deal not just with the wonderful things, but the difficult things. And the great thing is God fills that pitcher again with grace. So the next time we need it, he pours it inside of us. I have competed well. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. That's what St. Paul said. Wouldn't that be wonderful at the end of our lives if we could say the same thing? I have competed well. It doesn't mean I always won, but I competed well. I finished the race. I didn't give up. The way we don't give up is by giving it to God. I have kept the faith. And the way we keep the faith is asking God each day for the grace to keep the faith. No one appears on my behalf. Everyone deserted me, but the Lord stood by me and gave me strength. The Lord stands by each and every one of us and gives us strength, no matter how old we are. Whether we're 5-year-old, 10 years old, 20 years old, 50 years old, 100 years old, he stands by us. And then the gospel. The Pharisee, oh, I thank you, God, that I'm not like everybody else. And the tax collector says, forgive me, Lord, for I am a sinner. We can decide how we're going to come before the Lord. Hey, Lord, I'm great. Thanks. Or, hey, Lord, not beating ourselves up, but hey, Lord, I need your strength. The last line of the gospel. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and the one who humbles himself will be exalted. May we not be afraid to be humble before the Lord, to recognize that God is God, to recognize we may not always understand, but he is here, and we never walk alone. So we may think, as my brother and sisters did, that somebody else is the favorite. We may think everybody else is God's favorite. It's okay when we have those thoughts. But we ask God for the grace, when we do have those thoughts, to recognize we are blessed. And in the end, it's not about this world. It's about the world to come.